Aloha cupcakes. So I'm doing a little bit of work with the blacklight again, which I'm probably going to be doing quite a bit of till the end of this month because I can, and because it's there, and because, like, look, my whole workbench is just equipped for me to be able to do this stuff. So here, check this out. So check this out. I never actually thought about this, and I don't ever really discuss or describe this, but when I'm working with the UV paint, there are a couple of things that I have to do that are a little different than when I normally pinstripe. So first off, black lights are on. That's why the color looks kind of funky. But you see this canvas, I think it's a canvas, has UV paint already on it. In order for me to see where in the UV paint I want my stripes to be, I need them to already be fluorescing. So what I'm doing is black on top of the existing UV nonsense that's going on over there. And when it's off, when the lights are off, it looks just like any other almost black looking board. So I have to have the lights on so that I can see that it's not black, so I can see where the black lines are actually going, if that makes sense. I mean, other than that, it's just pinstriping. And I'm doing a type of design that I haven't done in a while where it's sort of symmetrical and then a whole lot not symmetrical. Don't know if you noticed that. Did you notice that? Did you really? Like, don't lie about it, did you? If you did, put it in the comments. If you noticed it right off the bat. Now, if you didn't, also put that in the comments, because seriously, nobody comments on my videos. And actually, I have no idea if I'm doing good or not. I mean, numbers are going to say whatever numbers are going to say, but truthfully, nobody ever really comments with any critique of any sort. So I assume I'm doing good, or at least I'm doing better than I was, which, whatever. So one of the other things that I'm working with here is I'm using the Dago Pro series, and I'm using the 3.0, which is a lot thinner than what I normally use, because I tend to like the number 1 gauge brush with these, because it pulls a very sharp point to it, but it also has a pretty dense body on it. With the 1 gauge, it's a little more consistent for me in terms of how it flows from the tip of a line when I start it all the way down to when it points out at the end of it. Whereas these other ones, they start off super narrow, and then when I start to pull towards the end of it, they also get more narrow. So I have to kind of retouch the starting points of some of the lines. And yes, I know that's a brush control issue, and it is something that has entirely to do with me and my hand and how I hold the brush. So I know that. Just, I would prefer not to use this particular brush. But at the same time, this one, because it is so skinny, pulls these super smooth and then equally very tight turns. Now, yes, the Alien Deathhawk also does this, and I think the Alien Deathhawk has it with a bit more consistency to it. Just the one that I have, I think that one's a 00, and this is just a little bit thinner. Because I don't want super thick, dense lines in this. I want this one to be a fairly skinny design. Just because the space that I'm working with here is only 5 inches wide. And I'm really just trying to create a dark gap on top of the existing glowing paint. So once it's done, all I'm doing is creating pinstripe shadows. And that's all I was really striving for with this one. So I don't want a whole lot of the design to really be pronounced. I want it to be, well, a little less. And then I'm going just completely nuts with it anyways, because I can't help myself. Now, when I say that this is a symmetrical but not symmetrical design, it means that I start with a couple of very key elements in the center, like the big center line that I usually start every design with, and then I give it a shorter parallel line next to it. So it's not quite symmetrical, but I did still start in the middle with it. And then I start doing these, not quite 40 to 5 degree, but different swirlies and I don't actually know what the word for that is, but I put the things that go across. Whatever those are, that's what I put on there. So here, this is what it, there. That's what it looks like. It's a little muted. It's not super bright. And that's what I was going for. Because we're going to do more dumb stuff to it. Yeah, I know. You thought it was done. But no. Now, the next thing that you're going to notice, like with this, so one, the UV paint, this is the alpha UV or the electroshock. It is an enamel, and it is super freaking thick. So I've already reduced this down about as much as I can go. The problem with reducing it is that as it gets thinner, you start to lose the UV pigment before you lose the actual color. It's the other reason why I have to have the black lights on while I'm working, so that I can see where the actual UV pigment goes. Because a lot of times when you're doing like these crossover lines, if you look really close, it kind of has a little gap over where I did the black lines. Now there's a combination of two things going on there. One, it actually created a gap going over the black lines. And two, once it's reduced down enough for me to pinstripe with it, it is almost translucent. So the black lines, even though I'm going over them, even the heavier ones, when I go over them, you can still see right through them, especially when we're dealing with black, because it has nothing for that pigment to play off of. So I have to be very aware of that, and I have to work in less than sunlight in order for me to do this. And then just to play off of it, I like to create gaps in the lines. That way some of it looks like it's on purpose versus like some of it, and maybe he did that on purpose, maybe he didn't. And then there's these. So I still have to go over them a few times. The camera doesn't pick it up quite the same way as what I see with this, because it's really, really bright when I'm working with it, just because the UV lights themselves are bright, and I have a UV filter that is built into this camera because I'm not using a full spectrum. So you can't see it as well as I did. But check it out. Yeah. Good times. So that was oodles of fun for me. I don't know how you felt about that, but that was I haven't done one of these quite like this in a while, so it kind of felt good to do it. I know. Yeah, that. And then there was and then, because of the, whatever. Stay moist, my friends.